didn't throw a glass or slam the door. I didn't leave my heart across the floor. I just sat there while the walls began to lean, watching the space that was open in between. Your coffee was steaming, the TV was loud, but I was already lost in a different cloud. There were words in my throat like stones in a well, a million stories I knew I couldn't tell. The don't leave me and the where do we go stayed buried under the weight of the snow. It hurt in silence, it bled in the dark, without a sound, without a spark. No cinematic ending, no storm in the sky, just the slow, quiet breaking of a long-held high. I was screaming inside while I stayed in my seat, watching the ground fall away from my feet. Oh, the loudest part of the violence was how much it hurt in the silence. You asked if I was okay, and I nodded yes, while I was folding the ghost of your Sunday dress. I was mourning the us while you checked your phone. The loneliest feeling is not being alone. It's the quiet erosion, the invisible crack, the knowing that we're never coming back. I wanted to break something, I wanted to cry, I wanted to give us a proper goodbye, but the air was too thick and the room was too small for the weight of the words that I couldn't let fall. It hurt in silence, it bled in the dark, without a sound, without a spark. No cinematic ending, no storm in the sky, just the slow, quiet breaking of a long-held high. I was screaming inside while I stayed in my seat, watching the ground fall away from my feet. Oh, the loudest part of the violence was how much it hurt in the silence. It hurt in silence. The words I didn't say. It hurt in silence. As you walked away. I practiced the speech in the mirror for hours. I bought all the words like a bouquet of flowers. But when I stood there looking into your eyes, the air in the room was a heavy disguise. I opened my mouth but the gravity won, and the please stay died before it begun. The clock on the wall was the only one talking, counting the steps while you were busy walking. I wanted to scream till the windows all broke, but I stood there and vanished in a cloud of smoke. We didn't go out with a bang or a fight, we just dissolved in the middle of the night. No dramatic goodbye, no tears on the floor, just the quietest click of the lock on the door. I had 1,000 things left to say to you then, but the silence was stronger than the ink in my pen. Oh, the static was loud and the shadows were long, and the silence won, and the silence was wrong. And the silence was wrong. Is a cavern of things left unsaid, a library of almost inside of my head. I'm screaming at ghosts while I'm making the bed. memories of the life that we led. It's a peaceful war, it's a bloodless defeat. The sound of the snow falling down on the street. I'm waiting for the noise to come back to the room, for a crack in the quiet, for a thunderous boom. But the air is just empty, the signal is dead, and I'm choking on all of the words in my head. We didn't go out with a bang or a fight, we just dissolved in the middle of the night. No dramatic goodbye, no tears on the floor, just the quietest click of the lock on the door. I had 1,000 things left to say to you then, but the silence was stronger than the ink in my pen. Oh, the static was loud and the shadows were long, and the silence won and the silence was wrong. The silence won, it's the only thing left. The silence won in the wake of the theft. Silence won. I kept adding wood to a fire that was dead. I kept rereading the things that you said, searching for the magic, searching for the glow in a room full of people I used to know. We had the dinner, we had the wine, but I was just checking the clock for the time. We were ticking the boxes, we were playing the part, a masterpiece painted with a hollowed out heart. I wanted the lightning, I wanted the storm, but it was just fine, it was just lukewarm. It never felt enough, it never felt real, just a phantom limp that I couldn't feel. No matter how loud I screamed your name, the silence was always exactly the same. We were a mountain made out of dust, a beautiful maybe that turned into my stove. I was starving while the table was rough, because us, it never felt enough. Never felt enough. I'm wanting a version of us that was grand, but it was just water slipping through my hand. You gave me your best, you gave me your all, but I was still waiting for the sky to fall. It's a peculiar torture, a quiet regret, to be happy enough and still wanna forget. Is it a flaw in the lens or the light? Why does the perfect feel like a fight? I'm looking for a fire that can actually burn, but I'm stuck in a cycle of wait for your turn. Of wait for your turn. It never felt enough, it never felt real, just a phantom limb that I couldn't feel. No matter how loud I screamed your name, the silence was always exactly the same. We were a mountain made out of dust, a beautiful maybe that turned into my stove. I was starving while the table was rough, because us, it never felt enough. Just be a friend. I'm sitting in the kitchen where we used to talk. I'm tracing the cracks in the garden walk. I waited for the sadness to pull me under. I waited for the lightning, I waited for the thunder. But there's no storm coming, there's no rain at all. Just a quiet nothingness pinned to the wall. I tried to remember the heat of your skin. I tried to let the old obsession back in. But the doors are all locked and the windows are tight, and I'm perfectly calm in the middle of the night. I lost the feeling, I lost the sting, the weight of the earth and the everything. I'm looking at your picture and I'm looking at the floor, and I don't even know what I'm looking for. No sharp-edged grief, no beautiful pain, just the steady sound of a cool and brave. Oh, the hardest part of the healing was the moment I realized I lost the feeling. It's a peculiar kind of ghost, there's nothing at all. A shadow that doesn't even move on the wall. I'm not angry, I'm not bitter, I'm not even blue. I'm just an empty vessel that used to hold you. The ghost of the heartbreak has finally left, leaving me here in a quiet theft. I wanted to miss you, I wanted to cry, I wanted a reason to tell myself why. But the circuit is broken, the wire is cut, and the door to that version of me is shut. I lost the feeling, I lost the sting, the weight of the us and the everything. I'm looking at your picture and I'm looking at the floor, and I don't even know what I'm looking for. No sharp-edged grief, no beautiful pain, just the steady sound of a cooling brain. Oh, the hardest part of the healing was the moment I realized I lost the feeling. I lost the feeling, like the lights going out. I lost the feeling, no more doubt. I lost the feeling, no more doubt. We were sitting on the edge of the sofa's frayed hem. I was looking at you, you were looking at them. The shadows on the wall, the dust in the light, the slow motion theft of the rest of the night. Your mouth didn't move and mine stayed shut, while the air in between us made a jagged edge cut. I waited for the sorry, I waited for the stay, I waited for the please don't walk away. But the syllables withered, the sentences broke, and the us disappeared in a silence that spoke. It ended without words, it ended in the air, just a sudden realization that you weren't there. No screaming in the driveway, no slamming of the gate, just the quiet arrival of a permanent fate. The story just stopped, the ink just ran dry, without a goodbye or reason why. Oh, the loudest part of the world was how it ended without words. You stood up slow and you picked up your keys, a ghost of a movement, a shift in the breeze. I watched your shadow retreat from the floor, the soft heavy click of the lock on the door. It's a peculiar kind of violence, a bloodless defeat, to let the forever to just drift to the street. I had a million questions, 1,000 what ifs, but they're buried in the quiet of the mountainside cliffs. What's the point of a why or a how could you go when the silence is the only thing I'll ever know? It ended without words, just the sound of the rain. It ended without words, just the weight of the pain. We're sitting in the same chairs in the same room, but the walls have shifted in the afternoon. I look at your hands and they don't look like mine. The edges are blurred, we're crossing the line. From a perfect fit to a puzzle gone wrong. We've been playing the notes, but we lost the song. We try to stay molded, we try to stay tight, but we're spilling out into the cold of the night. The container is broken, the glass is all cracked, and there's no way to put all the pieces back. We lost our shape, we lost the design, the yours and the ours and the everything's fine. We're stretching too thin, we're fading too gray, watching the us just melting away. No sharp corners left, no solid ground, just the ghost of a structure that can't be found. Oh, the silhouette's gone, the fire has escaped, and I'm standing here after we lost our shape. After we lost our shape. I remember when we were a fortress of stone. Now we're just water, drifting alone, trying to hold on to something that flows where the boundaries end. Nobody knows. I reach for your shoulder, but my hand passes through. I'm losing the me and I'm losing the you. Maybe we grew, or maybe we broke, maybe we vanished like circles of smoke. But it's terrifying, this lack of a frame, when I don't even recognize the sound of your name. We lost our shape, we lost the design, the yours and the ours and the everything's fine. We're stretching too thin, we're fading too gray, watching the us just melting away. No sharp corners left, no solid ground, just the ghost of a structure that can't be found. Oh, the silhouette's gone, the fire has escaped, and I'm standing here after we lost our shape. waited for the walls to start screaming your name. I waited for the guilt or the anger or the shame, but the air just sat there heavy and still, like a ghost in the window leaning on the sill. I left the TV on to drown out the beat of the quietest heart in the quietest street. I thought the ending would be a loud crashing wave, something to fight or something to save. But the storm didn't come, the sky didn't break, and I'm drowning in the stillness of a perfect lake. The silence stayed, it moved into your chair. It's sleeping in our bed, it's hanging in the air. I opened all the windows just to hear the rain, but the quiet is a poison running through my vein. No final I hate, no please don't go, just a steady accumulation of the snow. I was waiting for the noise, but the noise never played. You walked out the door and the silence stayed. I'm talking to myself just to hear a human sound, but the echoes are the only thing I've ever found. The kettle doesn't whistle, the floor doesn't creak, even the shadows are too tired to speak. It's a permanent winter, a frozen over sea, where the us used to be. It's louder than a riot, it's heavier than lead. There's nothing that's sleeping in the space in my head. I take the shout and I take the screams just to wake up from these silent dreams. Just to wake up from these silent dreams. Just to wake up from these silent state. It moved into your chair, it's sleeping in our bed, it's hanging in the air. I opened all the windows just to hear the rain, but the quiet is a poison running through my vein. No final I hate you, no please don't go, just the steady accumulation of the snow. I was waiting for the noise, but the noise never played. You walked out the door and the silence stayed. The silence stayed. Like a permanent guest, the silence stayed. Put the story to rest. The street lights were flickering, time to my breath. A cold kind of quiet, a small kind of death. I watched your taillights dissolve in the gray, like embers of everything we couldn't say. The keys on the counter, the click of the gate, a sudden arrival of too little too late. I was memorizing the way the door swung, the taste of the don't go that stayed on my tongue. The shadow you threw as you stepped to the street is the only part of you I still get to keep. The night you left, the clock just stopped. I heard the sound of the anchor being dropped. No screaming, no crying, no breaking of glass, just the silent weight of the hours that passed. The world kept on spinning, the stars stayed in place, but I'm lost in the hollow of your empty space. So the silence was louder than anything said on the night that you left, and the fire went dead. And the fire went dead. I walked to the kitchen and turned on the light, but it couldn't touch the shadows of that Tuesday night. Every corner is haunted by the ghost of a plan, by the we'll get there someday and the yes we can. Now the house is a museum of things we once knew, and I'm just a tourist, still looking for you. They say that the morning will bring something new, but the sun is just a spotlight on the absence of you. I take the wreckage, I take the debris, if it meant you were standing right here next to me. The night you left, the clock just stopped. I heard the sound of the anchor being dropped. No screaming, no crying, no breaking of glass, just the silent weight of the hours that passed. The world kept on spinning, the stars stayed in place, but I'm lost in the hollow of your empty space. So the silence was louder than anything said on the night that you left, and the fire went dead. The night you left, the streetlights went dim. The night you left, where do I begin? You didn't cut the line, you just let it go slack, watching the distance as it didn't look back. It wasn't a fire that ran out of air, just a slow motion ghost of a love that was there. I watched you go quiet, I watched you go cold, like a photograph left in the sun to turn gold. I was holding the match, waiting for the spark, but you were already adjusting to the dark. You didn't say over, you didn't say done, you just turned your back on the heat of the sun. You let it fade like a song on the breeze, like the color of autumn in the tops of the trees. No sudden ending, no bridge to be burned, just a slow motion lesson that I had to learn. I was fighting the winter, I was fighting the shade, but you didn't leave, you just let it fade. The message is slow, then the phone didn't ring, a gradual loss of the everything. I found a map that we drew in the dust, watching the we slowly turn into must. It's harder to mourn what didn't quite break, it's just a long, hollow, lingering ache. I take the lightning, I take the rain, I take the sharpest, most beautiful pain, instead of this blur, instead of this gray, watching our colors just washing away. Just let it fade. You let it fade. Now it's almost gone. You let it fade. Well, I was holding on. didn't turn away, I didn't close my eyes, I didn't reach for the comfort of the lies. I stood by the window, the glass against my head, watching the ghost of the words we never said. You didn't look back, you didn't even slow, as the distance between us started to grow. I was counting the seconds, I was counting the feet of the us disappearing down the end of the street. The red of your taillights was a bleeding line in the middle of a world that used to be mine. I watched you leave, I watched the movie end, without a hero, without a friend. No cinematic rain, no falling to my knees, just the quiet shivering of the autumn trees. I stayed in the frame while you walked out of sight, turning the forever into just a night. Oh, the hardest part of the grief was the steady slow motion way I watched you leave. Way I watched you leave. The driveway is empty, the oil stain is dry, a permanent maybe under a charcoal sky. I'm still in the doorway, I'm still in the light, but I'm already fading into the